All right, there we go. Technology drop in. Are we recording? Come on, where's the record? There we are. All right, technology drop in for Thursday, February 18th. I've got some neat changes showing you in Microsoft Teams that are coming through. They've got so much coming down the pipe over the next month and a half. WebEx has got some cool stuff in March that's going to be coming out. So hopefully a little bit gets leaked out every day, and some fun stuff to show you. However, I'm going to start off with talking about, well, let's look at our agenda here first. And this is the agenda. So if anyone is using Lastpass, so Lastpass is a password manager. They have a free plan and they have a family plan. The free plan, basically, you could go in and just use it as you wanted. They've just made a change that come in March, and I can't remember exactly when, I think March 10th. Lastpass will only be available on one device. So before, you used to be able to use it and you could pick it up on use it on your computer and have it sync to your phone as well. That's going away. You're going to have to pick one place for that to work. Now, I'm a 1Password guy, and I pay for that. I have a family plan that I pay for. For me, when you look at $5 a month or $3 a month, which is what it works out, either one of those plans for either individual or a family, I think it's worth it. I would rather have LastPass look after it. And I did a show and tell a couple of years ago. Maybe I should see if I can find the link to the video. But the nice thing about it is LastPass doesn't just look after your password. It can look after anything that you want to secure, because it's like a secure vault. So, for example, in my 1Password vault, I have copies of my driver's license, of my insurance, my car registration. I have access to wills and stuff like that. So it's not just for passwords. It can be used for all sorts of stuff. And one of the nice things about it is if you get like a family plan, I put passwords in there, then they're automatically available to my wife on her tablet. So she doesn't even have to worry about what the password is or adding it. I've already added into our vault. She accesses it. And so you can share passwords and stuff between different people. So anyways, so if you do use LastPass and you're using the free thing, just be aware that you'll only be able to use it in one device in a little while. Another thing is transcriptions with Google iOS. So basically, if you go into Google, hang on, it's not called Google Translation, Google, oh my goodness, I'm brain lock here. Can't remember the app now. How silly is that? I was just playing with it, so let me get my brain working for 2 seconds. Google Translate. So in Google Translate, you can set it up so that it does a conversation mode. So as I'm speaking English, it will, when I stop, it'll go, okay, Trevor's finished talking, and then it translates it to Italian. The Italian person I'm conversing with will translate it back to English. So it's a give and take, but it acts like a translator in the middle of it. They've added a new feature called transcribe. And what that basically does is I just put my phone on transcribe, and as someone is speaking, regardless of the language, it will just start transcribing on the screen. So for example, I pulled it up, used it on some French YouTube videos, and as the person was speaking in French, I automatically got a transcription on my screen in English. How effective it works, these are early days. It's a little slow, to be honest. I'm not sure that I would necessarily use it in quite that way at the moment. Could also have been my internet connection. But I mean, it's early days. It's a good start, though, to be able to have someone or listen to something in a different language and have it come back to me straight in English. And again, that's only available on iOS at the moment. Microsoft Teams. Oh, this is so cool. There was an update pushed out this morning. So history menu available in Microsoft Teams. I'm going to show you that right now. We all go into the chat window. Quite often, I find myself, I'll go into a chat here. I will post something there. Then I go into my Microsoft or a team. I have to go down into the channel, find the channel that I'm looking for, do my post. Then maybe I need to go back to the other person or whatever. So I'm always constantly going back and forth. Well, and you could use this the back and forth arrows there to go back until I got to the screen that I wanted. What's cool now with the latest update is I just put my cursor over there. It gives me basically a history. So if I want to go into the section here on milestones or this piece here, I can just quickly jump into that. Let's go to here. Quickly jump to that without having to go through and do hunt and peck and stuff. That will save me so much time because I'm always jumping back and forth. So that's a great feature that they've added. As well, Hey, guess what? Remember last week we were talking about, I mentioned that in the details, or sorry, the meeting options, there was a link down here that says allow reactions, but nothing was showing up. Guess what? Today they finally brought it out. So up top here, where you see the hand thing shows up, you can also do smiley faces and laughs and applauses and hearts and likes and stuff. And when those are checked off, so if you guys want to pick on one of those and click on it, it should show up right on my video screen here where we're looking at. Yeah, there we are. They're showing up down there on the bottom, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, so now you can get some feedback. I find one of the things I find really kind of silly is when I'm watching this, the shortcut for raise your hand is Command-Shift-K. I need 2 fingers to raise my hand. I would rather just click on this then. I mean, where's the time saving for that? So, you know, those are the kind of things that are available now. But I find, you know, when people don't want to talk to me, which is quite often, it's kind of nice to have something there that I can get feedback from people. Presenter view is interesting. So typically when I'm doing a presentation, I use Google Slides, and that's just kind of where I've been living. And I end up just sharing either the window or share that whole screen that Google Slides is running in. And I never think about what it is like when I go and share a deck. So I can't show you right now because I'm sharing the screen right now for you to see. But when I go to hit share, the choices are either my desktop, which is the whole screen, a specific window. There's the whiteboard, which we've talked about before. I can share a whiteboard. It uses a whiteboard file that Microsoft creates. And then I can also share PowerPoint presentations. Recently, with the new changes, when I go and share PowerPoint presentations, this is the screen that as I would see it. You would see just the big screen off here. So you'd see Trevor Beck, blah, blah, blah. And that used to be all that I used to see as the operator presenting this. But with the latest change now, what happens is I can see this window here. I can see the text that I've put in as part of my notes. So remember when you're doing your slides, it's a place where you put your speaker notes. That's where the speaker notes gets shown up here. I can quickly click into different slides if I want and jump back and forth. But the nice thing about it is you as the audience don't see that. You're only going to see this slide, the slide going here. So that's really kind of nice. I like, because I make a lot of use of my notes here and stuff. And the way they've got this laid out as opposed to having 2 different screens or something like that, I quite enjoy doing that. Trying to share a screen when you've got when you've got Microsoft PowerPoint in the desktop app, and then as soon as you launch it, if you've got 2 screens, one's the monitor of your presentation, the other is your controls and stuff, doesn't really work very well when you're trying to share screens in Teams. This is kind of a nice, brings both kind of features in there. Doesn't have everything in it because, of course, you can see there's no lasers and stuff, but it does make it a much better experience than what it used to be. Presenters and milestones and inspections, oh my. So Microsoft has, if anyone's familiar with it, Microsoft has something called Power Apps. So Power Automate is workflows. We've talked about those in the past where, you know, I do this and it has these kind of reactions in there. Power Apps is basically the ability to bring different elements together and create a new application. All right, and it will also have what they call conduits, I think, or ties to other different applications. So down the road, we'd be able to maybe possibly tie into a Google Sheet or PeopleSoft or something like that. Pull that data in, present it in a certain way within the Microsoft lab. But what they've done is when you go into here under the More Apps, they go in and every once in a while create new different applications in there. So, and these are basically like little pieces that they bring together to create all these different apps in there. So some of the apps that they've created are bulletins and milestones and inspections. Now I posted something before about that, and I'm just going to pull it up here really quick. So there it is. So this is the app, the bulletin app. And the way it kind of works is I have a channel already, and I want to have a place where I can put in bulletins, news items, whatever else. So this is what it would look like. As you as the viewer go in, I can see what are the different updates that are coming in. This particular sample document that they bring together is kind of like, what if we had a global place to go? So instead of the portal to go and look for news items, we had something in Microsoft Teams. This is what that would look like. And these are just basic stories. So here's the picture that you can assign to the story. There is the text that goes along with it. Pretty straightforward. It's basically just a bigger version of doing a posting, really. The only advantage is that you can put this into a category. So if I decided, I only want to see certain kinds of things, which is what, come on, go back. Oh, I gotta close there. Which is what, like there's customer updates as a category, employee resources as a category. So these are employee resources stories. You could go in and organize stuff and then go looking for stuff that way. Now, as you know, for those of you that are in my team, I do the same thing where I post here, but then I also post into these different channels. So if you just wanted to go look at stuff about Microsoft Teams, it would be there. So this is just a fancier version of that. Because it's bringing information from two different locations, there's actually two parts of the bulletins. There's the bulletin viewer, and then there's the bulletin editor, which is a different app. And that's where you would go and put your posts in, delete posts, pin stuff, that kind of thing. So, and you can easily find all these apps by just clicking on the three dots there and do a search for bulletins and pull that in. Milestones is, sorry?
Just back up a second. What is the similarity or difference with bulletins versus Sway?
Okay, so bulletins is built directly into and is intended to be used directly in here. It's a single page, right? When you look at Sway is basically a simple website editor because it can have multiple pages, right? Okay. Because in a Sway, you can have different sections and you jump to the different sections. Here, it's just one story. That's it. Does that help?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. And with Sway, you could copy and paste the link in here, and then people would go to the Sway. Sway is outside of the tool here, so it's different. This is kind of built to be inside of Teams more so than Sway is. And I don't think you can use, I don't think there's a way to email a link to that story or something. I'm sure there probably is. I just haven't seen it yet. So bulletins is one. Milestones is another one. Milestones are milestones. It's no different than using Planner and stuff. And in fact, if I remember correctly, you actually need to have, here are the different apps you're going to be doing. You do need a Planner or to do, whatever they want to call it these days, tasks to do. You do need to have a Planner or Planner plan in place. And then you connect that with these milestone status. So the milestones is more like a dashboard to here's what you've got in Planner. Here's a nice pretty way of looking at it, which is better than what's in the Planner or the to-do tasks. So you can, this stuff you can play around. You do have to assign it to a channel somewhere. So if you need to play around with that, you need to have access to a channel somewhere. If anyone needs, I've got my training playground, which is basically I just go to town and play with it. So if anyone wants, I can get you in on that, and you can play around with that. Last thing was, what was the last one? Inspections. Inspections is kind of interesting. Basically, I would look at inspections like, let's say that you had to go in and, do an inspection. So sometimes they have security guards that go around the building. There's a little key thing that they check in and stuff to make sure. Inspections is kind of like that. It actually, there we go, lovely error message. Thank you for that. Inspections is kind of like that. It's like a list that you basically would put down of here's what I got to do for closing. So I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Inspections is kind of the same thing. It's a checklist that you would go through. The nice thing about it is that when you go through the checklist, let's see if I can perform one here. So let's look at Backstage. Here's the checklist. Here's the certain elements that are in there. Did you fill up all this? Have you done this? And as you go through, you check it off, right? So this eventually will be available, I imagine, on your mobile phone. Right now, it's just within Teams, but it just kind of gives you a checklist to go through. And then if you have to, you can leave comments there. Hey, this door was unlocked, this plant is dying. And then you can have it, put a comment in there that gets sent to the manager and that kind of stuff. So that's what inspections would be good for, those kind of daily routines or consistent routine stuff that you would do. And so there's the links for bulletins and milestones. And then this one here gives you a link to a bunch of the different apps that Microsoft has created. Because as I mentioned, they created all these sample apps. So there's the bulletins, employee IDs. We looked at that one a few months ago. There's issue reporting. And then, I mean, you can basically create your own app if you've got time to learn all this stuff. So that's where a good place where you can start is in there. That's it. Any questions? As he tries to find his page again. I see something showing up in a conversation. Let's take a quick look. Where is the angry face icon? We have no angry face here. Why would, that's a good point. There's nothing there to show your disapproval. I never noticed that. Maybe that's in the next iteration. But that's a very good point, because I mean, not everything's positive. Oh, all right. Any other questions? Looks like no. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here, and then if anyone wants to hang around and chat for a bit, that'd be cool.